The site's a very special site. We looked at it that way from the very beginning, that it had these precious attributes. Looking over the channel and looking toward the Olympic Mountains.
I have a great appreciation that there have been people around this region for the past 3,000 years. And it's very interesting to me to be able to have a canvas such as the Roundhouse site.
This was referred to for 50 years as the wrong side of the bridge. And of course, this was the oil tanks, this was the sawmills, this was the lime bay, hauling and moving lime, and trains and railways and logs and shipbuilding. At one time when we looked at it, this was all empty except for these old buildings that were abandoned. Buildings, even though they're interesting, they were dilapidated because the roofs weren't fixed. So you had this really hideous, huge piece of land right in the middle of a community.
Before I really jumped to many conclusions, I try to take in all the criteria. And as I am gathering the information, by the time I get to like what I think is 80 or 90%, your brain starts to ruminate into a vision. You got to know where the mountains are, you got to know where the view is, you got to know where the water is, you got to know where the market is, you got to know where the people are thinking. And by the time you put that all together, it comes together and tells you the vision. If you look at the whole 20 acres, it reaches over to the bridge. That's sort of critical. We started from the closest point and we're going to the furthest point. The Bayview section, phase 1, where we did these buildings. This 2-acre piece being left out as the famous Vic West now dog park where everybody comes. We've got the corridor still here. We've got the mews here to the ocean area and the park. Heritage buildings well integrated into the site. The affordable housing here, the rental here, so again, a place for everybody.
The affordable housing crisis is before us now and really will require us to have decisive action. Partnership opportunities like this are rare, if not unheard of, and so timeliness will be absolutely key to its success.
We watched a number of developers in the industry try to do this sort of partial, reluctant donation, and we didn't want our project to be reflected in that manner. So as a result, we went as big and as generous as possible. And I think ultimately it not only does a great thing for affordable housing, it does a great thing for our project to be able to say that we have a dedicated tower to that cause.
The location is just perfect for this type of housing. It's close to schools, it is walkable, it is close to transit, and the beautiful Victoria Harbor. Without this historic donations, these homes would not be possible. The land is so important for us to be able to work with upper-level governments to be able to bring in the grants and financing to make these homes a reality.
So far in North America, none of these have ever been finished. So if between us and the city and our planning group internally, if we get this done, it'll be a huge achievement because it'll be the first. So we're happy to be, enthusiastic contributors, and we think that that will create a spirit of community that wouldn't otherwise occur.
So this site is really endowed with some major green space, park space around all sides of the site.
It catches the sun all day, catches the winds. It's got the best view of the Olympic Mountains. This is now the most successful multiple residential on the island, and perhaps even in the West Coast in the province of British Columbia. These are actually more dense than these. This is roughly 2 times density, and these are 2.5 and 3. But they use the whole footprint. They leave no land open. Next phase is this piece here, which is another 10 acres. You've got the dominant features of the railway, the mews, the turntable, maintaining rail for antique purposes all over the site.
The connection from the turntable down to Lime Bay through the Mews, this could really become the heart of Vic West and the peninsula in particular.
It can be occupied by market users, rail buildings that are enhanced to be utilized for today's purposes.
It's a reimagination of that site and its full potential to be a vibrant neighborhood where heritage, old buildings are integrated with new buildings.
Cafes and frontage, restaurants and boxcars converted to food trucks and to craft and artistic venues. Old-fashioned antiques from, 100 years ago. This is probably the first visual entry place, urban entry place into Canada off the Pacific.
What we will end up with, while it's not driving the design, will be a destination.
So this is a perfect example of a complete community where there's something in it for everyone. Mixed use, residential, commercial, heritage, historic. It really could be a gem in the west part of our city.
Building affordable housing is hard, and partnership opportunities like this are crucial to make building these units a reality. And just thank you to Ken and Patricia for having the foresight to make this happen on this site.